Hey guys, Fat Buddy Cat here. And you know I brought some friends with me. Yeah, you know it. So, I think where I left off, I was setting up to get the rod on. I did the oil clearance, and then I was installing the rod. All right. I got big old sausage fingers. All right. So this isn't the easiest thing for the guy, but I can give you some tips on how I did it. Uh, if you want to see a visual, again, guys, head over to Grey Goat Garage. Um, he does an excellent job over there. And he actually, I tell you, he does it in like 35 minutes. He puts it together live on camera. All right. So he's good with it. But this is what we got. This didn't take me that long either. All right. Just a matter of getting the right parts and the right torque specs and making sure that the rod seats on the crank perfectly, so that you don't go and break one of these bolts that hold it on. Guy may have done that. So, anyways, got that sorted out. We got this rod in here, and I'll tell you how I did it. Some guys will put the flywheel on first so they can have something to turn. That's a good idea. It's really cool, but I'm going to be showing you guys something new with flywheels today. So this is how I'm going to show you. What I did is I took a brand new cloth, all right, microfiber cloth, and I tucked it up under here, all right. And the whole idea is you want to have the journal, down over. You want it to come down over here, all right. Now with these mega dookie lobes, my first time putting it in, I wasn't thinking how much these dukes were gonna spin, guys. And she spun up and around, and as my rod was coming down, I got locked in right up in here. All right. Now it took me five or 6 minutes of looking at the thing and some rubber tools and some fidgeting to get it out of there. Luckily, there was no damage. Why that happened? A lot of small blocks. Every small block that I've done, it's not stroked as much, and I wasn't being considerate of the tighter clearances that you have in this engine. All right, guys. So you got to be aware of those things. First time for everything is we're learning. So I've done this a few times. There's no excuses. All right. So, anyways, I got it in. Make sure it seats perfectly. Make sure the faces are pushed up nice and snug. For whatever reason, with this, you really, I don't know if it's just the angle, but I feel like I had to really fight more to get up in there. Again, it could be these huge lobes. So even when the bolts were really loose, I found myself taking a small ratchet and if the bolt would spin either way. It was so loose. I just, until it was face tightened, you know what I mean? The same as finger tightened. I just couldn't get them in there, guys. But, then, I started at 50 pounds, 70 pounds, yada, 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 all the way up until we were fully torqued and seated. All right. Now, I would just go and toss the number out there and tell you, seat your bearings at 150. A little bit of 1030 on your surfaces. Hit it with your plastic gauge or whatever you're going to, and then take it up to 170. Check your plastic gauge. And I took this one to like 165, and I was like, I don't know, 27 thousandths or so. It was nice. I ended up setting this one all set and done. All right, so let's just go with that. To each his own. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. I don't want to send anybody down the wrong path. All right, which is why we're doing this in the first place, and why I titled this "Governor Removal Done Properly" or "Done the Right Way." All right, so now we have our billet connecting rod in there. All right, and you can kind of get a good side view of it. All right, and that's one of the Pinnacle connecting rods, EC carburetors. All right, and this rod, if you go on their website and you go in looking at the Wildcat 223 rotating assembly, you'll find this rod, guys. This rod is made for this engine. All right, it is made to do what I'm doing. Okay, you see that? You see how nothing's hitting? All right, now I haven't put the cam in yet. All right, but I don't expect that we're gonna have any problems from that. All right, guys. You know, same thing. You know, we're using stock valve train in 22-pound springs in our head. That's it. All right. Now look at this. Look where we are, guys. Before we were like, I'm not kidding you. We were like that. All right. Look at that. All right. We're just about there. Okay. Now this is what I was telling you about. The kid ordered the wrong gasket. All right. Now I'm thinking, oh, performance, baby. You know, that's what Fat Buddy Cat does around here. You know, on the low, but that's what's going on. So I ordered these here. Okay. These are like a 10,000 gasket. All right. And I would use these on like my 196s and such. For this, you would need that one that's got the, I forget how many thousandths it is, but it's got the little brass or whatnot, you know, retainers. Then they're stacked. It's like 3 of them. Or one of these bad boys right here. All right, and this is like 40 thousandths. This is the you know, stock in the Tillotson 212s. And it also fits in here perfectly. Considering this is the stock, you know, the stock gasket, it's basically maybe a skosh thicker, but the other one's crushed. I would say it's the same as the stock gasket for this thing, guys. But look what we did. All right. So now we're going to pitch some more RPM at this. I was told that with this head gasket, doing no milling, and here we're like 8-to-1 or something like that. So not bad for a big bore. Or not big bore, but a, you know, big stroke. So that's what we're doing. All right. Dude, I'm super excited for this. You know, remember I told you guys I took that gear off. I don't know if I have it sitting around here. Well, I ended up taking that little that gear off the crank, little governor gear. Oh, here it is, back here. Okay, so that's going, and you just pop it a couple times, and a little on each side. They fall right off. Just a pressure fit kind of thing. All right, so next we're going to be after sealing this thing up. All right, I made sure, put a little bit of oil on my bearing, a little bit of oil on the crank before it went through the bearing, a little bit of oil on the surface of this bearing here, very light, 10W30 only. Little bit on the edge of the piston wall, not all over the rings. Nothing saturated. All right, guys. I'll put a little bit of oil on the side of that crankcase cover, just on the bearing area. And I'll close this up. And like I said, our governor's done. You know, Felicia hit the road. She gone. So that's that. All right, guys. You ever see one of these tokens? Woo! All right. Well, the same guy behind all this madness, all right? I may have double ordered. I don't know, maybe I'll hang some on my wall. You know, like I'll tie them together or something, like a freak that I am. I'm not kidding you, I got like mini bike t-shirts on my bedroom door. Alright, enough of that. So anyways, passion, guys, that's what I mean by the passion. I really got it. Alright, so he makes these head gaskets. Alright, and these things, he sends these things all over the world and whatnot, and I got some, and this means something to me. Alright, not only could I not find these, you know, I only had to mention it, and, you know, he reached out and sent them to me, so I thought that was really cool. So this kind of, you know, it's part of my motor now, and I appreciate everything. So, we'll get these on here. I really know what I'm doing, guys. I'm just that overwhelmed. So anyways, I'm going to get this kind of set in place, and then I'll get back to you. All right? Bye. All right, so I might as well run it through the rest of this. And I mentioned before when my tappets here fell out, I measured them. I actually took a micrometer out and measured them, and they're the same. I have a like one of those slide, like analog, hard to read micrometers. I'm not the best at running that thing, but I can tell you they were the same. That I can guarantee you. All right, so get those in there. If you use a little bit heavier lube, sometimes they'll stay up a little better. But when we're torqued in, my flywheel's not on, nothing's in the way. I can tilt it to the side a little bit, and I just like to put a little bit of oil on my surfaces that are going to contact. All of these parts were thoroughly cleaned prior, including the block. I would never leave an engine sitting out for days on end, especially after that, building that shelf and everything yesterday. So we're just lining up the dots like usual. Always sounds easier. It is so close. What is hitting? See what I mean with these things, guys? There's just like, it's just a little bit, everything's just a little tighter in here. There it is. All right. So we're lined up. Good there. So everything's in. I'm going to put this cover on. All right. And I'm going to put my gasket on, cover, hand tighten, and I'm going to give it a spin. All right. And we're just going to listen and kind of make sure nothing's knocking around or stopping where it's not supposed to. All right. So let me get that on, and then we'll put the flywheel on lightly and we'll give it a spin. All right, guys? See you in a moment. All right, guys. I went ahead and torqued this down. I gave it a spin. Nothing was hitting. This is not torqued on yet, this flywheel, but we'll just give it a spin. And everything's moving the way it should. All right. So I don't want to do too much of that for nothing. Next is going to be putting the head on, and I'll be using one of these gaskets right here. All right. So I get set up, and then I'll get you guys a shot, I guess. Let's see how it goes. All right, guys. So, like before, the long bolts went in the bottom, the short bolts went in the top. All right, and I set those. Spec is 17. I set 18. So that's that. I had my rods in at the same time I did the head. So everything's in there fine. I checked my valve lash, and I looked in the owner's manual. I couldn't find it. It's kind of late, so there's not a lot I can do reaching out. But what I'm going with that I found works on stock cams before with 18s and 22s. I did .002 on this side, .003 on the exhaust side. All right. Reason being, if you're too tight, motor will be hard to start. If you're too loose on the intake, then you won't engage the decompression. So you're better to be a little bit tight over here. And then, that just, I was surprised how loose they were. So I hope I'm right on that. Anyways, the next thing is going to be torquing this flywheel on. All right. And I think that's going to be the last thing we're going to do tonight. And then we'll work on dressing the motor up and stuff tomorrow, because I want to check on these up here. All right. I just want to make sure I have the right valve lash and everything for this. I want this to be right, guys. All right. Put this off long enough. This is a really beautiful engine, and I'm really, really proud of it. So, why not show it off a little and use new tools. All right, guys. I'm going to get this thing assembled, and I'm going to explain what this is. All right, just give me a second. All right, guys, here it is. This is Grey Goat Garage, OMB Warehouse. So you got CHT, crank holding tool. All right. This thing's really, really cool. When you have your ARC flywheels, the recommended torque is 65 foot-pounds. That's quite substantial. All right. And I found already, just going with the 54, that it's very easy, if you're wedging a screwdriver or anything in, to bend the starter cups on these. All right, so you don't want to do that. So this comes in a few pieces, and you just bolt it together so it looks like this. I mean, it's pretty obvious what this is going to do. All right, and it'll slide on, and you go ahead and get this in your keyway, line that up, and then you're going to use this hole here. All right, and that's where you're going to set your bolt. I'm going to have to go grab one for this. It's going to be whatever the torque converter bolt is. I'm not sure on the thread, but I'll just grab one, and I'll be right back. And I'll show you how this thing works, all right? All right, guys. I got this thing on there. I got a grade 8 bolt there holding it on. There's a little side view. All right, ARC wants 65 foot-pounds. And we don't want to disappoint anybody. Let me get shot there. All right. Nice thing is, you can really hold the motor down. Come on. Yep. We're there. All right, guys. So now I had that a lot closer than I thought, but as you can see, you can really crank on it. All right, and it makes things a whole lot easier. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to stop there. We got our flywheel on. Our valve lash is set. I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to be. I'll check into that. And tomorrow we'll get back to trimming this motor out. All right, guys. And hopefully we get it all done, and we'll get it put back on the Trailmaster. All right? Have a good night. Thanks for watching, guys.